Alrighty, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cryptic Coil. In today's video, I'm gonna do something very different. Okay, so here's the thing. In a past life, I was a YouTuber, okay, but I didn't do on my channel what I do today. In my past life, I used to review cologne and perfume. I was a fragrance reviewer. I stopped doing that some years ago. And I want to say I stopped doing that maybe 5 years ago. And the reason why I stopped doing that is because I wasn't making very much money at that time. And as a fragrance reviewer, I felt this pressure to be constantly buying new bottles of cologne and perfume. And the nature of my job, wearing fragrances just didn't do me a whole lot of good. And in some cases, wasn't even allowed. And so I didn't really get to test them at work. And I spent so much time at work that it was really hard to test fragrances despite my love for this hobby. So feeling that kind of pressure to constantly be buying new bottles in order to create content for my channel, I eventually just decided to walk away from the channel and not be a fragrance reviewer anymore. And I deleted my channel for that reason. And in these last 5 years, I'm still a fragrance enthusiast, and I still have a pretty sizable collection. But I don't really bottle chase anymore. I don't buy everything new that comes out. And now that I'm older and now that I've been in this hobby for over 15 years, the industry has really changed, and I'm that old man who's just mad that everything has changed, and back in my day we used to have this and we didn't have that. Like, that's where I'm at in my journey with this hobby. So with all that being said, I just want to do a throwback. I just want to do something new on this channel, and I want to talk about fragrances. What I specifically want to talk about is what are my top 10 fragrances for the rest of my life, because I have a whole bookshelf in my bedroom. And guess what? I don't have books on it. I have cologne and perfume bottles on it. And I also have like shoe boxes and little plastic containers full of like little vials and samples and stuff too. And it's been about a year since I've bought a bottle. But anyway, let's jump into this 10 for life. This 10 for life fragrances. Okay. And this is in no particular order. I mean, this is my 10 for life. So the first fragrance that I want to showcase is going to be Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Okay, this is a very good fragrance. It's been around for a lot of years, but not everybody wears it. It's popular, but it's not like cliche. It's not. This is a fragrance that, as long as it's been around, it's gotten to avoid that ex-boyfriend, ex-husband fragrance stigma. Like Dior Fahrenheit and Calvin Klein Eternity come to mind. Those are kind of known as ex-boyfriend scents or ex-husband scents, because if you're a man and you find yourself single, and you wear Dior Fahrenheit or Calvin Klein Eternity and you go on a date with a woman, chances are she's going to tell you, oh, my ex-husband wore that. Oh, my ex-boyfriend wore that. And Chanel Allure Homme Sport has been around for a while now. It's been around for most of the 21st century, and it is pretty popular, but it doesn't have that ex-boyfriend, ex-husband stigma. You're gonna get a lot of a dusty, slightly creamy tonka bean. Tonka bean is a cousin of the vanilla bean. It's not quite as sweet as vanilla, but it does have a very similar scent to vanilla. And you also get a lot of mint and a little bit of woods with this fragrance. And it's very nice. It's very wearable. This is almost a Swiss Army knife fragrance. In other words, you can depend on it for just about everything. Work, yeah, you can definitely wear it to work. Can you wear it on dates? Absolutely. You can wear it on dates. Can you wear it dressed casually? Absolutely. Can you wear it dressed up? Oh, yeah, definitely. The only times that I would not wear this fragrance would be to the gym, or because it's just not appropriate for the gym. But if the other place that I would not, or the other time that I would not wear it would be on hot summer days. Depending on where you live, maybe at night when it cools down. Like I live in the desert in the southwest portion of the United States. The desert gets kind of cold at night. Not always like cold, but at least cool. So I could reach for this during a summer night, but I would not reach for this during a summer day. Like I said, you can definitely wear it to work. You can wear it on dates. You can dressed up, dressed down. Just not summer days, just not at the gym, but anywhere else. I mean, it's very versatile fragrance. Very good. Great compliment getter, too. So, Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme is the first fragrance in my top 10 for life. All right, so coming in next, let's go ahead and talk about its older brother, Chanel Allure Homme Sport, and this is the Eau de Toilette. I just absolutely love this stuff. When I first got into this hobby, when I started to, I realized like, wow, I've been wearing Liz Claiborne's Curve since I was a kid, since I was like in eighth grade. And I wore it throughout high school. And now I'm in like my mid 20s. And I ended up getting into colognes at that time, and I started doing some research on what was out there and what can I learn about cologne. And a certain fragrance reviewer that used to be on YouTube at that time just really hyped this stuff up. He really loved it, and he loved it so much, and I trusted him like automatically. Probably not the smartest thing in the world, but it didn't bite me. So I'm looking back, I'm cool with it. I blind bought it. I ordered a bottle off the internet without smelling it first. It was a blind buy. I fell in love with it too. I've been through a number of bottles over the last 15-ish years, and this is just something that I'm always going to have in my collection. It gets compared to Acqua di Gio by Armani. It gets compared to Versace Pour Homme by Versace. I guess that was a little self-explanatory. My apologies, but it's really good. It has a little bit of tonka bean in it as well, so it does give you kind of a bright citrus out of the shower freshness. Great during the summertime because, like I said, I live in the desert. It gets really hot here, and when you step outside, you don't even have to be moving around or spending energy. Just standing outside, you're gonna start sweating in our dry desert heat. And so you want something to compete with your body odor as you start to sweat. And you want to smell like something that's going to give you this out of the shower type of freshness. And Chanel Allure Homme Sport is one of the best fragrances to do that. There's others that I like. I love Versace Pour Homme as well. But if I have to decide which one I wear, I think that my history of which ones I've bought more bottles of speaks for itself. As much as I love Versace Pour Homme, I'm sticking with Chanel Allure Homme Sport. This thing, I, it could be an ex-boyfriend, ex-husband scent, but I've never run into an issue where some chick told me, "Oh, you smell like my ex-boyfriend," so never happened. All right. So another fragrance that I'd love to talk about, and so this is kind of the downside of being involved in this hobby, collecting fragrances and buying multiple bottles of cologne and perfume. You fall in love with the scent. They only make it for a few years. They discontinue it. Okay, and that was the case with Prada Amber Pour Homme. I love this stuff. Okay, it's very sophisticated. Okay, the scent has a soapiness to it, like a really clean soapiness. And it doesn't smell like cheap generic soap. It smells like expensive soap that people who make six figures a year or more would bathe with. Okay, it's very classy, very sophisticated. It's not considered to be a sexy scent, but it is considered to be a very sophisticated and classy scent. And so it definitely makes you smell like you have top notch, A game level hygiene. If you're dressed really nice and you smell like this, you're gonna get respect. If you wear this, people might even treat you as if you're higher up the social hierarchy or maybe the corporate ladder than what you are. This is a great scent. I cannot think of a better scent for the workplace than this. Now, this is discontinued, and I've bought like 5 backup bottles because this is like the third bottle that I've ever gone through in my lifetime. As you can see, I've used a little bit more than half of it. And when I found out they discontinued it, I panicked and I started buying backup bottles. The last time I bought a backup bottle was last year, and I think it costed me over $100. There was a time when you could get this on discount for like 50, $60. Now they're going for over 100. Part of it's because inflation has affected every industry. The other part of that is the fact that it's been discontinued, which means there's less quantity out on the market. So I feel like I need another 5 backup bottles on top of the 5 that I already have. But yeah, Prada Amber Pour Homme. It's I honestly hope that I still have a couple. I hope that I have this fragrance in my fragrance wardrobe for the rest of my life. Definitely a 10 for life fragrance. Let's see, what else do we got? Okay, let's talk about another one by Chanel. Wow, I have 3 Chanels in. I didn't even think I was like that hardcore of a Chanel guy, but if I got 3 Chanels in my top 10 for life, I might be a little bit more of a Chanel guy than I ever realized. All right, so I'm kind of cheating here. All right, so the fragrance that instead of telling you which Chanel fragrance, I'm going to play a game with you. Does anybody recognize this? This is not a Chanel bottle. This is an Armaf bottle. Armaf is a fragrance company based out of the Middle East. I believe they're from Dubai, if I understand correctly. On the back of the bottle, it says that this fragrance is made in France, but this company, their headquarters is in the United Arab Emirates, and I believe it's in Dubai. They're called Armaf, and Armaf makes fragrances that smell more like other popular fragrances, and then they sell them at like a fraction of the cost. Okay, so this one is called Legacy Eau de Parfum by Armaf. Okay, and this is so this is what we call a clone fragrance. If you're a female watching this and you're not quite as immersed into the fragrance community as I am, perhaps you might be more familiar with the beauty community. You guys call these things dupes. In the fragrance community, we call them clones. Okay, so Chanel Platinum Egoist. Okay, I absolutely love this stuff. It's very sophisticated. It's very classy. The Prada Amber Pour Homme is something that I'd wear to work. It's something that I'd wear to a job interview. And if I ever run out of that stuff, I could replace it with Chanel Platinum Egoist. But in addition to wearing Chanel Platinum Egoist, in addition to wearing it to work or on to a job interview, I'd also wear this stuff on dates. It's a little bit sexier than what Prada Amber Pour Homme is. And it's also classy and it's also sophisticated. It's also nice. For Prada Amber Pour Homme, I kind of feel like you have to be dressed up because you're going to look professional if you're going to feel the need to reach for that bottle. But with Platinum Egoist, you could actually be dressed down too, but you could also be dressed up. It's just a little bit more versatile, but I do feel like it's just not quite as professional as Prada Amber Pour Homme, but it holds its own as far as professionality is concerned, if you want to wear it and use your scent as an invisible accessory. So the reason I brought out the bottle of Armaf Legacy is because I like them both. Is Armaf Legacy as good as Platinum Egoist? No, it's not. But for $30, I mean, this is a bargain. It's a bang for your buck substitute for Chanel Platinum Egoist. I have a female friend and she's happily married and she's crazy about her husband and her husband is crazy about her. I mean, they have a great marriage. And I was showing, when I bought this, I showed it to, when I bought Legacy by Armaf, I was showing it to her. And then I asked her to compare it to Platinum Egoist. And while it's not an exact clone, it's blatantly obvious that these two fragrances are super similar. And what she told me was, she said, I want to buy both of those bottles for my husband now, and I want him to wear the Armaf Legacy to work every day, but when we go on date nights and stuff like that, I want him to reach for the Platinum Egoist by Chanel. And I look back on that and I'm like, I'm not surprised that that was her reaction. I mean, there's just nothing surprising about that. That's exactly what I kind of expected when I showed these to her, and it got confirmed. All right, so Platinum Egoist is the fourth fragrance that I've shown you. All right, so let's talk about something a little bit more sexy than what to wear to work and what to wear to a job interview. And let's talk about something that, something, look, I've always thought that this fragrance was incredibly sexy, okay? And I always knew that if I went on dates or anything like that, I knew that this was going to be one of the first bottles that I gravitate to so I could wear this fragrance. The fragrance that I'm talking about is La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL, okay? And this is the second bottle that I've ever been through in my life. This is just a terrific fragrance. It's been around for a long time now, so this is definitely an ex-boyfriend, ex-husband fragrance for sure, because it's wildly popular and it has been for just about 2 entire decades. However, it remains popular to this day for a lot of reasons. Okay, it is a very sexy, very sensual fragrance. You're gonna get a very creamy kind of lavender. You're gonna get a little bit of a woody backbone, and you're gonna get this beautiful cardamom. Cardamom has never been done so well. All right, I just absolutely love La Nuit de l'Homme. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. There's a certain woman from my past, one of the most beautiful chicks I've ever dated or been with. On our first date, let's just say she really, really, really enjoyed the smell of this fragrance on me. This is the only fragrance that I think of as, I don't want to say that. I try to keep my show clean. Let's just say that I give this fragrance some credit for sealing the deal in a moment where I really wanted the deal to get sealed. And the deal got sealed. And I give a lot of credit and thanks to La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL. I mean, going out dating or going to a club or some kind of social event where maybe you're interested in attracting the opposite sex or same sex, whatever you're into, this is just a dumb reach. And this bottle is from 2013, and I have a backup bottle of it. And it's full. So this is definitely going to be in my fragrance collection for a while. But I'm very conservative with the juice because they haven't reformulated it. Like they have watered it down. So if you go to the mall and buy a bottle now that was made in recent years, it's not going to last as long. It's not going to be as strong and project as well as what I got in this bottle. But I'm lucky to still have some juice left in this one, and I'm lucky to have a full backup bottle from the same lot. So that's cool. All right. Now let's move on and talk about other things. So here's another good one. Okay, so I'm bringing out two. Okay, so there was Dior Eau for Men, and they used James Dean as the poster boy for this fragrance ad campaign. Odd, but whatever. I just absolutely love Dior Eau for Men. It's discontinued. They don't make it anymore. They had one bottle left at this local perfume store at my mall, at my local mall. It came with this 100 milliliter bottle, and it came with some aftershave balm. I ended up buying it. So I'm very lucky to have this because my first bottle of this I just ran out this year. So now I could move on to my backup bottle if I want to. But I don't exactly have to because there's still some Prada. This is Prada's L'Homme. So it means men in French. So L'Homme by Prada. And it pretty much smells exactly the same as Dior Homme Eau for Men. They're very similar. They're very comparable. If you have one, you don't really need the other. That's how similar they are. And apparently Prada L'Homme has also been discontinued, but you can still find it. It's getting a lot harder to find a Dior Homme Eau for Men, and if you do find it, it's gonna be 2, 3, 4 times as much as it was when it was still in production. Prada L'Homme is, from what I understand, no longer in production, but you can still find it, and it is still affordable if you're willing to pay what it's worth and maybe a little bit extra because it is discontinued. So this is something that I want another 3 or 4 backup bottles of because I just absolutely love this. It's got kind of they both kind of have a fresh out of the shower, clean kind of smell that comes from here. I know it's grapefruit. You get a little bit of citrus with L'Homme as well, but they're very comparable, offering that fresh, clean out of the shower citrus. This you're getting grapefruit, but you're also getting iris. Iris is a certain flower. I think that iris smells sexy and sophisticated, and they both kind of have that iris DNA here, and I just love them both. And so, like I said, if you have one, I really don't think you need the other. This got a whole lot of hate when it came out. People called it boring and generic and unexciting. And then this came out and it pretty much smells the exact same. And oh, everyone raved about it. Everyone loved it. And when it got discontinued, there so many people were heartbroken. It's just really bizarre. It's really bizarre to me. All right, show you another fragrance. So I really enjoyed this stuff. I don't know if it's been discontinued or not. I hope not, because I really enjoy it, and that is Euphoria by Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein has really fallen off in the fragrance community. Like, they're really not making the best fragrances that can compete with, the Pradas and the Chanels and the Diors, and not even like these Middle Eastern up and coming companies that haven't been around anywhere near as long, like Armaf. But this fragrance by Calvin Klein, Euphoria Gold, It's really good. It has a very sexy, gourmand kind of vibe going on. It has the note of honey, so it has a honey like sweetness. And this is something that I also enjoy wearing on dates. And this is something that I've also gotten a lot of compliments on and a lot of positive feedback from the opposite sex. And that's definitely something that I look for when I get dressed up and I wear fragrance to go on a date or something like that, or go to some kind of social event where I'm open to the possibility of meeting somebody. And so this is a fragrance where I feel like if I reached for it rather than La Nuit de l'Homme, I can't go wrong. This is definitely going to get me some positive attention, some positive feedback, and compliments. So I really enjoy Calvin Klein's Euphoria Gold. I'm probably the only person who would put this in their top 10 for life. And what I can tell you is that in all the years that I've been collecting fragrances, if you would have asked me 2 years ago to make it top 10 for life, I'd probably have a few of these fragrances might be swapped out or substituted for something else. But right now, I have no problem putting Euphoria Gold in my 10 for life. Let's move on. Okay, here's a fragrance that I really enjoy. Okay, and this is Herod by Parfums de Marly. All right, this is some pretty expensive stuff. Even if you can find it at discounters, you're still gonna pay roughly around $200 for a bottle of this. This is very similar, very comparable to a fragrance by Tom Ford called Tobacco Vanille. And it smells exactly like what it sounds like, tobacco and vanilla. I realize that there's a lot of people out there that don't smoke and they hate smoking and they don't like tobacco products. But and if you're one of those people, I mean, good for you. I'm a smoker. I wish I wasn't. I honestly don't think I'm ever going to kick the habit. But if you're one of those non-smokers that hates the smell of, tobacco smoke and everything, that's cool. I respect that. But I challenge you to go down to a local cigar shop and tell me that a cigar shop is not one of the most divine smelling places in the world. Okay, if you don't light it up, like if you just open a box of cigars and smell the cigars, it smells amazing. It smells amazing. I remember my father bought a cheap box of cigars when I was a kid. Swisher Sweets. That's what he bought. He bought Swisher Sweets, like a whole box, but I opened the box and I smelled it and it was divine. It blew my little mind. Okay, and so the tobacco that you get with Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille or with Parfum de Marly's Herod, it's this divine tobacco, coated with vanilla, and there's even kind of like a cherry, ness kind of going on. Like they make a cherry flavored primetime cigar. They also make a vanilla one. But this is like higher quality cigar scent than that. But this is so good. Oh, there's a little bit of honey sweetness in here as well. Oh my gosh, this stuff is so good. Every time I wear it, I get compliments. This is something that you can't really wear during the warmer parts of the year, so I don't really wear it in the spring or the summer, but I love reaching for this in the fall and the winter when maybe you're wearing like a nice sweater, or maybe you even need to throw on a suit and tie for some event in the fall or winter. This right here is just a great scent to reach for during that time of year, and I just absolutely love it. Okay, Herod by Parfums de Marly. All right, so here's another one. Okay, and this is heartbreaking for me. Okay, this is heartbreaking. This is Angel Men Pure Malt by Thierry Muller. Okay, still don't know if it's pronounced like Mugler or Mueller. I've heard both. I was introduced to this brand as Thierry Mueller, so I've always said Mueller. Okay, this stuff is just absolutely incredible. Okay, it has the DNA of Angel or Angel Men, or otherwise known as Amen, by Thierry Mueller. Okay, that's a very popular fragrance. Even if you're not involved in the fragrance community, odds are good that you've known a woman who's worn Angel by Thierry Mueller. Okay, the whole Angel line for men and for women has a patchouli backbone, and it's a very signature type of patchouli. It's a very beautiful patchouli, and so Amen has that signature patchouli as well. But what it offers that makes it different from other fragrances in the Angel or Angel Men line is it has, caramel, it has some citrus from like wild berries, and it has this gorgeous, well done whiskey note. There used to be a rumor that what they did was they aged this cologne in used whiskey barrels. So they poured the fragrance into whiskey barrels and they let the fragrance soak up the whiskey from the wood in the barrels, and that's where they got the whiskey note from. I don't know if that was ever confirmed as true or not, but it was highly believable at the time. The whiskey note in here is just great. This is so good. It's a huge compliment getter. I've had this bottle for 12 years, and you can see that I still have a whole lot left because it lasts so long and it's so strong that all you need is like, one spray on your neck, and then you really only wear it during the fall or the winter when it gets kind of cold. This is not something you want to wear in the heat because it's so sweet and strong that you're going to give yourself a headache if you try to wear it in the summer or something like that. So when the air is cold and it's kind of hard for a fragrance to cut through the cold air, that's when you wear this, and it does a great job. And it's very strong, and you don't need very much of it. That's why after 12 years, I still have that much left. And Thierry Mueller died, and a whole bunch of his fragrances got discontinued. This is one of them, and I was like, oh no, I never want to be without pure malt. Like I want that stuff in my fragrance wardrobe for the rest of my life. So I jumped on eBay to buy a backup bottle, and I ended up having to pay $275. When I bought this from my local Macy's, it costed me $90 after tax back, 12 years ago when I was 27. So what year would that have been? 2012, 2013? I might have been 26. But yeah, 12, 13 years ago or whatever. $90 brand new at retail price. And now to get a backup bottle, $275. Well, I pulled the trigger. I have a backup bottle. So I should have this stuff in my fragrance wardrobe for the rest of my life. I know that there's another company called Fragrance World that makes a clone of this. I think they call it Starman or something. I don't know how it compares. Like, I'm sure I mean, does it smell similar enough to satisfy such a devoted fan of this scent like me? Oh, and will the performance and the lasting power of the fragrance in that Fragrance World bottle satisfy me? Because this stuff is strong, it lasts long, it's a huge compliment getter. Does the Fragrance World clone compare to this? I don't know, but I have a feeling that I'm probably going to find out soon. If not this year, probably next year. All right, let's move on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we do have one more fragrance that we need to talk about. Okay, and it's Dior Homme Intense. Okay, now in the past, I've had two vintage formulations. So this fragrance is beloved in the fragrance community. It, but it's notorious for having been reformulated at least twice. So the vintage formulation, when this stuff first came out, it used to have a silver collar. You see that? The collar is black. In the past, I've had two silver collars. I and I loved it. It's my favorite fragrance of all time. I just absolutely love Dior Homme Intense. Then they reformulated it, and even though it's still comparable to the original vintage formulation, this reformulated stuff, it's just different enough to force people to decide which formulation they like better. Do they like the old one or do they like the new one? And a lot of people, liked the vintage formulation, but there are some people that prefer the reformulated version. Unfortunately, I had to sell both of my silver collar bottles because I was hurt. I was on short-term disability. I wasn't making 100% of my income. I was only making, short-term disability level income with no overtime on my paychecks. And I was hurting for money while I was out of work on my short-term disability. So I had to sell my vintage silver collars in order to make ends meet. And now you can't really even find them. Once in a while, one might pop up on eBay, but it's going to cost you like $1,000. And I'm just not at a place in life where I could justify spending that much on a fragrance right now. But this reformulated bottle, it's good. It's good. I do prefer the one with the silver collar. I felt like it was stronger. I felt like it lasted longer. And I felt like the difference in the scents, the silver collar smelled just a little bit better. Okay, however, all hope is not lost because the perfumer who created this scent for Dior took his vintage formulation over to Valentino and released Valentino Uomo Intense. And I just so happen to have 3 backup bottles of Valentino Uomo Intense. So I have this, and then I have 3 backup bottles. So I'm set. I'm good. Okay, so I'm not losing too much sleep. I'm not too heartbroken about my favorite fragrance of all time getting reformulated because the perfumer, Olivier Polge, went over to Valentino and created this, and it has been discontinued. But then I think they started producing it again, so I might want to buy another couple of bottles. But yeah, I've been through 2 bottles of this within the last 8-9 years. So yeah, Valentino Uomo Intense is the other one. But then there are some other companies that clone other clone fragrances, popular fragrances. So I've already shown you guys Armaf. Okay, this scent Legacy was a clone of Chanel's Platinum Egoist. Well, there's another company called Alexandria Fragrances, and they cloned the vintage formulation of Dior Homme Intense. Okay, but this fragrance does not smell 100% identical to this fragrance. Okay, this fragrance smells a lot closer to the vintage formulation than this stuff does, right? So, Alexandria Fragrances Velvet Iris smells closer to this bottle than it does to this bottle. Okay, so that's awesome. And then there's another company called Dua or DUA, and they have their own version of Dior Homme Intense as well. And I haven't tried the Dua one. I want to. Now, I really love the Velvet Iris by Alexandria Fragrances. You can see that I've made a huge dent in this bottle. And while the smell is very close to what I get out of Dior, the silver collar vintage formulation of Dior Homme Intense, or with what I get to Valentino's Uomo Intense, it's not as strong and it doesn't last quite as long. But for the price, it's definitely got some bang for your buck. This is something that I would wear on a date or something like that. And I have gotten compliments out of the Alexandria fragrances. It does smell super, super close to what I wanted it to smell like. And it does smell closer to the vintage formulation than to the black collar reformulation. And then on that same note, Dior Homme Intense has a sibling, Dior Homme Parfum. But Dior Homme Parfum doesn't have vanilla like Dior Homme Intense does. Instead of getting, the cacao powder and the iris that you get with Dior Homme Intense, well, it has that too. It has the cacao powder and the iris, but it doesn't have vanilla. Instead, it has the note of rose and leather. And so this is very sexy as well. And if my bottles of Dior Homme Intense went away, if my bottle of Velvet Iris went away, if my bottle of Valentino Uomo Intense went away, and I was only left with my Dior Homme Parfum, I'd be okay. I do need to get a backup bottle of this because it was discontinued and then they re-released it, but it smells different. So I do need and it's going to cost over $200, but that's okay. I think I paid about $200 for this one, even back then. And you can see that I have made a dent in it, but this is a very sexy fragrance too. It reminds me of Valentine's Day, but in my top 10 for life, I need something like this, okay? Ooh, that's unfortunate. I did something very stupid. I attempted to lift a bottle by the cap. You can't do that, especially not with this one. I don't even know if you can. You can kind of do it with this one, but it's not a good idea to. And then this thing doesn't really even have a cap. It has this, but whatever. Something in this vein, and it would probably be Dior Homme Parfum or Valentino's Uomo Intense. All right. Well, sorry, I feel like I started babbling there. My bad. But anyway, for those of you who watch my channel regularly and don't ever hear me talk about fragrances, I hope you appreciated this, or I hope you found it interesting or entertaining. But if not, I totally understand. I'm not going to go back to being a fragrance channel. But if this does get kind of a positive reception from my modern core audience, maybe I might do a few more fragrance related videos in the future. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Horns up and peace out.